We've had a profound and deeper reflection on that conversation. To what extent are we living that purpose of Uganda is our home and we drive her growth? And a few things came to mind. And these things relate to the composition of our population. Who are the people who should drive this economy today? Who are the people who are being left behind in the rest? So we are extending our statement to say Uganda is our home, we drive her growth, but we're also adding that we will focus especially on women, youth, and farmers. So that's for emphasis on that purpose statement. And also that's the declaration of commitment. So if I was a younger person, I would celebrate that. Thank you. That the biggest bank in this country, the biggest bank on the African continent, is committing to supporting women, youth, and farmers. For me, who works with this brand, it's a major achievement. And having been an advocate of that conversation internally with the leadership and shareholders to say, are we doing enough for this country? Are we doing enough for ordinary Uganda? However, having said that, I'm reminded of an experience three months ago. I was chatting with a group of younger people, declaring to them, as I have here, that Stanbic is committing to these categories of three subpopulations: women, youth, farmers. And the younger person challenged me and said, Nelson, you don't get it. We are not a category. We are the population, and you are the category. Did you hear that? And we reflected on that. Is that true or not? I think if you just read or listened or immersed yourself in the recent census, that statement is true. All of us who are above 35, right now we are a category. The population is the younger people. And let that sink in for a moment. So what does that mean for any person doing business, for any person who is planning for society, for any person who is a politician? We're about to enter elections, right? That means that the people who are going to determine your success in business, in politics, and stability in society. Okay, social stability is an important conversation. It's a younger person. So if you didn't care, please think again. You should care. You should start to care, right? So, because of those conversations, we've been doing a lot to support younger people. At the Stanbic Business Incubator, where I work, we are skilling young entrepreneurs. And our message is simple. How can you set up your business the right way? How can you do business the right way? Those are the two challenges our entrepreneurs face in Uganda today. Terrible practices in setting up businesses, right? And we want to do business by cutting corners. So if you're an entrepreneur here today, a younger person, now that we are talking about future generation of entrepreneurs and leaders, and if we want to make it in a competitive world of today in Africa, take our businesses to the global markets, you can't go there without starting the baby steps the right way, incorporating our businesses. And I'll give you something. Today this week, we have one of the funds that support entrepreneurs. And we are committing to give $40,000 to $100,000 to entrepreneurs to grow and scale their business. What is funny with that is that we received 200 applications. During the review process, we found that 50 applicants had falsified their bank statements. 50 out of 200. Are we proud of such a Ugandan entrepreneur that's emerging or not? So ladies and gentlemen, that's said that our entrepreneurship ecosystem, especially from an identity, from ambition, and from commitment to do the right business the right way, is broken. And I have the opportunity of speaking to so many people that want to give capital. So we did say in this country that actually, if a younger person and you think that money is the problem, no, you're wrong. Money has never been the problem for an entrepreneur in this country, even the African continent, I can tell you that. So we have a challenge of, so everybody that I know in Kampala is looking for pipeline. And if you don't know what that means, that people who are looking to invest in businesses are looking for a pipeline of credible businesses that they can give money. But we have two problems: smallness and informality. A typical Ugandan business is very, very, very small. So we set up to serve your district, sub-county, little market. And we want to challenge you that let's change this mentality of smallness. The younger person that I would like to speak to, and if you come to the Stanbic Business Incubator, is to say, I am aiming to conquer the African market. That should be the conversation, right? I think that's a good starting point. And let's have the ambition. And then let's say we can now deploy our infrastructure, because Stanbic is in 26 African countries. The other conversation we're asking ourselves, how can we deploy this infrastructure for the benefit of a Ugandan business? Do you want to export? No problem. Can we connect you? How can we use our capital? How can we use our networks to support Ugandan business to go and conquer the regional markets and thrive? So that's an important message for us to you. I would say we have running opportunities at Stanbic. We've been trusted by numerous partners to run entrepreneurship programs and funding actually that supports the youth. For the last 5 years, we've been part of the NSSF High Innovator Program, where we have supported, in partnership with Mastercard Foundation and NSSF and other partners, we've been giving seed funding, equity seed funding of $20,000. And that seed funding, there's a painful story to that as well, about a typical Ugandan business, that they take, you want to give them $20,000 to step up and go for bigger things and take in $1 million. What does a typical Ugandan business do? Take the 20,000, complete it, and go and look for another funding, not to build their business. We are also running a very interesting initiative for a younger person. We call it the Uganda Climate Innovation Fund. And the Ugandan Climate Innovation Fund is targeting Ugandans, especially younger people, who have ideas, just ideas. We're not asking you to have even an established business. Just come with your idea, especially if it's related to green businesses. And then we start the process of how do we help you to turn that idea into a product first and then into a business, a thriving business. So we are doing this in partnership with Palladium with funding from the UK government. The board chair of PSFU mentioned the partners of GROW. We are proud partners of GROW. We are proud to be among the people who are entrenching financial inclusion, especially empowering younger women and younger people through that fund. And our commitment there, as we say, is that whatever our partners give us, we want to leverage it and do more because we have capital. So how can people start small and then we continue? Okay, thank you. The program, I've been asked to, that's probably enough, and I will agree. As I wrap up, I want to remind you, don't forget the things the tide has turned. We are the category, they are the population. So a smart businessman, a smart politician, a smart citizen would commit today to say, I'm going to support a younger person to improve their well-being and prosperity. If they are not peaceful, if they are not thriving, I swear to you, none of us here can kid ourselves that we will. So for that reason, on our part of Stanbic, we are committing to say we are going to deploy our infrastructure, our intangible assets, our capital to enable a Ugandan person, a younger person, to innovate, to start a business, to live a digital lifestyle, positive digital lifestyle. But overall, we want to deploy this to foster positive youth development and prosperity of the younger person. And I hope that all of you will join us. We are open to working with partners. We are open to working with younger people to co-create these solutions, and we empower our next generation entrepreneurs and leaders. Thank you.
Once again, thank you so much, Stanbic Bank, for driving and promoting the dreams of young people in Uganda, and especially at this event. We are so grateful for the work that you do through the incubator, through the schools championship, and all the other initiatives that you have going. Another round of applause for them. I am now going to hand the mic over to Mr. Agwe Ashaba. He's going to lead us through one of our more exciting sessions this afternoon, and today really, because we are going to, we've been sort of upgrading our experience. We came from 10 to 15 to 20 years, and now we are getting into the 30s and so on. So over to you, Mr. Ashaba.
Thank you, Cecilia. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our last panel of the day that is made up of 3 prominent, successful business entrepreneurs. In our planning meetings, we were calling them business aristocrats of the Ugandan economy. And largely because everyone in this room has 9 out of 10 times used one of the services or products that they actually are engaged in. So if you're not using anything for building from roofings, you must be having a drink from Crown Beverages, or you must have been to Angenois for the night entertainment. Please join me in welcoming first Mr. Charlie Lubega. Please come and join the podium. Also join me in welcoming Dr. Sikanda Lalani to this podium. And last but not least, Dr. Amos Nzei to the podium. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the greater part of the day, we have heard about people who are engaged in businesses that have been over 10, 15, 20 years. On the panel here, you have people who have been in business for over 40 years. 40 years of resilience, of success, of growing the Ugandan economy, and amongst all that success, of also being good people with humility, and they are very down to earth. And I'd like to start off with Dr. Sikanda. As you can see, the audience is filled of very young men and women who aspire to be maybe like you or to follow the same path. If you could be kind enough to just give us a bit of a snippet of your journey as a business person, as an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and Chairman of Psfu. Thank you very much for organizing this really wonderful conference where I see so many young Ugandans. Tomorrow they would be our business leaders. So thank you very much for that. Me, I'm in the business 30 years in Uganda and 20 years in Rwanda. So altogether 50 years, not 40. So I started my business in Rwanda. I did 5 years of studies in UK. I was medical laboratory technologist, specialized in histopathologist. Got tired of that profession, ventured to Rwanda. In Rwanda, I started with nothing in my pocket. I didn't have anything. I had a friend, I met a friend over there who was representing the house of Philips, the French guy, became my friend. Then he told me, why don't you start a business over here, be our distributor, and we'll give you everything on consignment. So I said, where do I find money to pay for the rent? Then I had a friend of mine, I just put it forward to him. He said, look, I'll pay the rent for 1 year, and you get the goods on consignment, and we start off. And this was my humble starting without anything. So here now the bankers are really rich with money and all. They got a lot to offer. So this is an opportunity for young generation to come up with ideas and all. My business model, what I believe in are three principles. One is determination. Whatever you think and whatever you want to do, you have to be committed and determined. Number two is ethical practices. I totally believe in ethical practices. where, I mean, it's a growth, it's a level playing field where you grow, the government gets the right taxes and all, the country grows. So ethical practices is very, very important. And thirdly, I believe in quality products. Uganda is a landlocked country, and one time when I came here, Kenya was much more advanced than all, and people said in Uganda you should go and get into agriculture, leave the industries to us. Now today we are even exporting to Kenya from Uganda. So in Rwanda I started, and then there were people of Bridgestone tires from Japan. They came to find an agent in Rwanda. I got the agency, and with this Bridgestone tires, the business grew. I was introduced to the Japanese people. And with the Japanese, one day we were talking, and they said, look, why don't you put up an iron sheet factory over here in Rwanda? There is a big market. Rwanda has got a market. All the houses in countryside is covered with grass. So there is a big market. And then Congo has got market, the neighboring countries, so put up this project. And I thought within myself, where do I get money for? Money like that to put up projects like that. Then again, I had some friends working for Rwanda's Bank of Development, which was the part of World Bank. I just talked with him that this is what my colleagues are telling me. So he said, why don't you do a feasibility study and present it? I did it after 6 months, and I got my first $1 million loan from Rwanda's Development Bank, which is a part of World Bank. So the business grew in Rwanda, big markets for roofing sheds, on not only Rwanda, but then export to Congo, DRC Congo. There was a barter system. Rwanda was exporting, Rwanda was getting coffee from DRC Congo, and we exported iron sheets and other products from Rwanda. And one time, about 45 years back, we even exported iron sheets from Rwanda to Uganda. 1994, with the genocide, I'm born in Uganda. I'm born at Zambia Hospital. So I thought, let me come and go to my birthplace where I know the people, I have friends and all. And I started my business here in Uganda. I started in Lubova with initial investment of $2 million and workforce of 60 people. So we were manufacturing iron sheets, electro-welded tubes, and other construction material like galvanized wire and barbed wire and all that. And from Rwanda, one thing which I had in my mind was my dream that one day I want to put up a cold rolling mill complex. 2013, after being here in Lubova, going into, producing iron sheet and other products, I thought of putting up a factory, backward integration factory for roofing sheet, cold rolling mill complex. His Excellency, I put this idea forward to His Excellency, and he said, look, we have got this industrial park, Namambe Industrial Park, which was completely forest. He said, you start off and the government will follow you up. So 2009, we started our first plant over there. We went there, the government followed, all the infrastructure was provided, and today the industrial park is full up with industries. There is no place there. So it's a partnership with private sector and the government of Uganda, And these are the examples what the sky is the limit. So today we have got a total investment of around $500 million. We are exporting to DRC Congo, South Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi, and we are also exporting to Tanzania, and we have started exportation to Kenya. Now, Uganda, being landlocked, I never dreamt that we would be able to export to Kenya. But because of the quality and because of the commitment of the Ugandans, it's very important that you have Ugandan people working. We have got 2,000 people working with us. Very important to train them and make them to feel the part of the company, part of the family. And we have got excellent workforce, and this is the whole success of the business in Uganda. Finally, I would like to point out what is important for especially 50 years in business.
Yeah.
I am 80 years old.
We are all ears.
So we have to be very, very committed for succession and inheritance. I think in all businesses all over the world, this is the most important thing to follow up: succession and inheritance. Before, we know that India has developed a lot, China has developed, and now next country which will really come up is Africa. So we all have to develop our own country, and the sky is the limit. And today we are the strength of the nation. I think everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And this success is because of the population, because of the people of Uganda. And we are committed to supply the quality product that we know that some of the people, upcountry people, they work for 3 years to save, to roof their house. Now, it's my responsibility that we provide them the best quality products which are manufactured.
Thank you.
And thank you very much,
Doctor. As you've heard, is that he didn't start off with making iron sheets. He started from very different other businesses, and then he landed on another opportunity, which he picked up, and eventually what has transformed to become roofings. Dr. Amos Nzei, I don't know if it's the same journey for you, but I know, as Cecilia spoke here, we normally know hot loaf, and they probably Crown beverages. It would be nice to walk us through your journey and how far you've come since you started your entrepreneurship journey.
Thank you, moderator. Can you hear me? Good. Well, mine might be different from my brother, Mr. Aran. First of all, my name is Dr. Amos Nzei, born in Kabale, Uganda. I was not meant to be a business person. I was forced by circumstances because my father at the time was earning 3 shillings per month working at White Horse in Kabale. And we are 12 of us that he had produced. So you can imagine when I was in primary 3, I was told that you may not be lucky to start your next term because there is no school fees. So I liked football. I thought I would miss football at school because I wouldn't find anywhere to play the game and to play with. That time, actually, the football I'm talking about, it was made out of papyrus or banana leaves.
Fiber, yeah.
And I was playing with Rugunda, Mbabazi, Mutebire. So I didn't want to leave that company. So I tried to continue, and at the age of 4, I was given a chicken by the name Nyirabujegere. It was producing many eggs. And out of those eggs, I started now selling eggs, business of selling eggs. Selling the eggs to which market? To teachers. That business was the worst in my life. Because the teachers I was selling, I was supplying eggs, were not paying me because they were not being paid. I would wait to be paid for as long as about 6 months. Not intentionally that they were not paying, but they were not being paid. And I hope they are being paid today. So that business did not go very well. I improvised and with the little money I earned there, I remember buying baking powder and a bottle of edible oil in a Pepsi Cola bottle, by the way. I started baking mwana kava. I don't know whether you know about mwana kava. So that mwana kava became profitable and managed to push me to do more schooling and classes. Of course, I was offered by many relatives who were teachers, and I attended actually minimum in primary school. I must have attended to 8 schools, different schools, because one relative would try 1 term, 2 terms, no payment. He wouldn't pay. Then I would go to another school, still the same story. I remember the last one was when I rebelled and left, because I discovered that the intention actually was not helping me, but me helping them as a houseboy. So my brother, who was in Kampala here, invited me. He was working in UTC as a ticket examiner. These buses, which I enjoyed when I came here, Mengo Murago, whatever money I had in my pocket, I would go to those buses. Very smart. Then look at, do window shopping while I'm in a bus on Kampala Road. Kampala was shining at that time and very clean. But of course, with a few people, don't say it's not clean now. The population we are talking about maybe 9 million in the whole country. So I now waited to be sent to school. He said, now I want to put you in Kororo High School, but I'm looking for money to buy you clothes. They demanded the school children to have white, everything white, from top to the shoes. And indeed, he did buy them. I went there. How long? I did not even complete a year. Not even, I don't know how many terms, whether it was even 2 terms. I was sent home, no school fees. But one thing I will never forget, what I didn't tell you, in lower school, Kabale, headmaster called me because my father kept on saying, bear with me, I'll pay. Bear with me, I'll pay. That headmaster called me to his office. He had a stick. He said, I'm going to give you 6 cans because you have not paid school fees. You have studied for nothing for 3 terms. I will never forget that one. And he was a friend of my brother because they were both UPC, supporting UPC. Even me, I remember they dressed us as schoolboys. In the jacket C, we went to vote when we were about to maybe 14. And we ended up being arrested. It is in Pambara who got us out in the Kabale police station. So here, it could not work, but as luck provides. One morning, my brother had been reading Uganda Argus, and he left it in the sitting room. So I went and, started, grazing in, trying to also look at pictures and what under some articles. So I landed on one article which was taking up school droppers. That was the title, school droppers. An opportunity to be trained by Israeli company which was by the name WRD, Water Resources Development, in Kabale, which we are starting to build the road from Kabale to Tungam. Now, I said, where do I get transport? I need to leave immediately because I qualify. I'm going to drop out. I got a lift from those trucks which carry goods. I think the name of the driver was Francis. May his soul rest in peace. He delivered me to Kabale. I went there. I didn't know even which job I was looking for because I didn't have any qualifications. When I got there, I was, I think, number 6 to be employed. Which job? Boy spanner. I worked as a boy spanner, but on training different sections where I was excelling the best student. Being in which section, of course, after that, mechanic a little bit. Then the chief engineer appointed me under his department to be able to be in the field. He even gave me a car Land Rover to collect information about tractors which have broken down, what they could do, what kind of spares that were lacking in those tractors. And the salary was also, I think I remember when we discussed, I was promoted, I reached to earn more than a district high commissioner in Kabale. I was getting more money than him. And eventually, I even bought a car. But before I bought a car, I had an issue with our home, my parents' home. It was grass thatched. And I said, my first salary, I must roof this house with iron sheets. Because whenever I would be going home with students, fellow students, from a church school where we went with these former prime ministers and the Bank of Uganda governor, I would tell lies to my fellow students. Whenever they ask me, where is your home? I would appoint Chivenjeri's home, or which had, Mabati roofed. I didn't want to show people that I was living in a grass-thatched house. I don't know whether I bought those iron sheets from Raran. So, Mr. Raran, I was a customer in your business at an early age. So I moved on. I managed to also buy myself, you know, first of all, clothes, good ones, Strads, Royal Brook, to be able to, you know, look like some of you I'm seeing here. And then we were transferred to Mbarara. We started working on Mbarara Katunguru. But before we got to the end, I had put in my resignation like 3 times. But they would stop me because they needed me. I was very sharp in creative and managing, you know, situations. I didn't tell you that one day I nearly died by explosives. In those training, they trained me to blast stones. You know, you use hammers to grill, you put in explosives, you connect cables, and this Israeli guy who was doing it, for him he was very careful. He used to use a 20-meter cable, dig his hole, hide there. After putting the light, after lighting, then he would do. But for me, I said I can do it even at 6 meters. And the stones hit me while I was in that hole. But thank God I survived. Now, when we reached Nkombe, where our former Chief Justice, I remember his home there, Justice Katudel, I said, I'm quitting, I'm not going to work for anybody. That was 3 years that I had been working with Israelis. I resigned because I had been saving. I had an uncle whom I used to give my money in the cabaret by the name Henry Sassi. And he had even interested me in creating and starting a small shop with the barracks, police barracks. So we started, you know, trading in those, you know, commodities. And I bought, from my savings, I bought a pickup. I remember the pickup was costing 26,000 shillings. But we did not have money to put, with my uncle, a boxy body. We borrowed 4,000 to put on a boxy body. And I started driving to, you know, selling. I ventured into food, supplying Higeza High School, supplying hospital, Butobere. This food, I was buying them from Chihihi. In Chihihi, they used to have a market every Saturday. But through innovation, I started talking to these women who were bringing food in the market. I said, I want now to buy from the source. I started going in the village to buy gardens of sweet potatoes. And that improved my earnings, profitability. So the business grew. But on the way to Chihihi, there is a forest called Mafuga. I discovered that there were people cutting trees, timber, but using these manual saws. So I asked myself, if I ventured into this business, and I gave these people automation saws, you know, these ones which cut very quickly. They could cut many timber, and I would venture into that because I had found out in the Kampala they were buying those timber. Indeed, I ventured into that. I bought those automation. I supplied them. They cut timber for me. I had the market with National Housing Corporation. I supplied this one, Minister's Village. Then we did this Extelecom. We did all those were my timber. The whole of the Nakasongora barracks, it is me who supplied all the timber. In fact, I even went beyond to supply some hardware, some rocks from Kenya. And business was growing. I bought trucks. I bought trailers, semi-trailers because of those timber. I was buying from, I stopped now, I was buying from many, not only Mafuga. I started buying from Karinzu, Chihara in Fort Portal. A big business in timber. I made good money, which now was disrupted by the war, Tanzania and Uganda. So they confiscated my 3 trucks to take troops. I had to bribe to get them back. When I got them back, I sent them to Nairobi to a friend of mine by the name of Jirigori, and he started using those trucks for me on my behalf. But then along the way, I developed a hobby of driving cars. And I started competing in the motor rally, which motor rally at the time the president of the nation picked interest. And who was the president at the time was Idi Amin. So we started now driving, competing with. So one time he said, now he was appointed the OAU chairman. He said, now you drivers, rider drivers, I'm going to make you drive in the whole of OAU countries. Tell me whatever you want, but you must cover all the OAU countries. I was imagining now OAU countries, how can you drive 1,000 miles and miles? But I said, let's wait and see. I hope I'm not taking longer.
No. Yes, you're taking us
sure?
process by process.
Thank you. So we demanded to have, by the way, this guy was a rider driver, I think, after me. And he was doing well as he. So we demanded foreign exchange to buy cars, factory prepared cars. I mean, so he gave approval. We went to Bank of Uganda. He said they sent us to Bank of Uganda. There was this Abbas Mawanda. I remember him very well. Whatever you applied for, you would get it. And we identified the factory preparing cars in the UK by the name of John Speed. We got the money, we flew to UK, we bought those cars, we brought them back, we brought them by air here. We drove, we completed 6,000 kilometers, which took us to Kenya, Sudan, Congo, Rwanda, Burundi, a bit of Tanzania, and then back here. And the winner was none other than me. But of course, on announcement, as I was sitting at home on television, there was a man, a newsman, Christopher Damulira. Empake zabadde zikubagana kumade na kumeka zimaze enaku mukaaga. President Idi Amin Field Marshal yasoose amudiride abadde Kigezi boy amusinzeeyi amulega basomera Christopher Damulira. I said, now what is this? But of course that didn't mean points. It was the arrival. That because, you know, we usually find him in 40 kilometers from here. And he would be the one, of course, he wouldn't overtake him. He would be the one to arrive at Upper Hotel that time, they called it. So that activity took me into exile. I went to receive my trophy, which was a car with my school driver. They gave us cars. Those were the trophy. I think I'm the only one in East Africa to have won a car as a trophy. Brand new car with my navigator, Edward Kayua, the late. May his soul rest his peace in eternal peace. And then that didn't go well with me. In the morning, I was picked for questions at Set Research, Nakasero. I got there. I found some 3 gentlemen in a room discussing in Swahili. One of them came to me, faced me, he started hitting me with his stick. You know, these officers, whatever, hitting my head, said, Kakauko. I went and sat down there in the corner. Within a short time, they finished the meeting, they went. Then he came back to me, he said, Yunzei, you are going to die here. And who was this? This guy had been in school in Bubare, those schools that I was telling you, in primary 4, I was with him, he was my classmate. He was called Captain Smart. He said, I don't know how I'm going to save your life, but I'll do my best. He went out, he said, if I come back, I will tell you what to do. So he went out, he came back and said, I'm going to open the door for you, just jump in the back seat, and I'll see where to drop you. He dropped me at Norman Cinema. I found my way now to Kenya. I went to Kenya, but I had a friend in Jinja called Bwire, who was killed also. I didn't say how I was also doing the other businesses along the food stuff. I was the agent of Chillington Tour Company. And Katodung was the managing director, then the sales guy, marketing manager. He was the overall Katodungu. He was also killed because of this Tanzanian radio, which used it to mention. There is somebody who was called, called Babirye, and then another one, Ukato. Because of that, all Ukatos, I think, were murdered. So this guy helped me to cross the border. Now I went to Kenya, I started transport again with my trucks. I built my transport company. I remember a lawyer calling me because I wanted to register the company. He called me and said, asked me which name to name your company. I said Intercontinental Transport because I was sleeping in Intercontinental Hotel. And I grew the business. I got some other people to join me. I had a friend of mine called Chris Kirubi. He gave me 70 trucks because I had got a contract from Belgium, from ship as the transitor, who gave me a contract to transport a lot of goods in the region. Congo, Rwanda, Burundi, all the breweries. I was the one transporting their goods. To the tune from my 4 trucks, 20, then 100, then 300. It became a good business, and I managed to earn some good money, which helped me to even treat my son in London, where I was paying a lot of money. He had some issues. 2 years in a hospital. Then my family also moved to UK because of that. My son, because of that, brother of theirs. So I managed to educate my family there in UK. I hear you referring to the chairman. He went to very good schools. When you hear him speak good English better than mine, It's because of my money. I educated him very well. I was paying £7,000 per term for him. Now, I came back, and now when they liberated this country, one thing I had in mind was start baking, because there was no bread in Uganda, it was imported. Bread was coming from Kenya. And that's why you are referring to hot loaf. Yes, I did that. Now along the way again, there was shortage of beer, sodas, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, Vimito. They didn't have crowns, these closures. Crown Cokes. When you hear Crown beverages, it came from Crown Cokes. So Crown Bottlers, it is a name that I went and bought machines, and I started manufacturing bottle tops, Crown Cokes. Which Crown Cokes were very good. I had bought the machines from Germany, having gone around everywhere. Germany was the most expensive, but that's what I chose to buy. And by doing so, because I'm trying to give a lift to the younger, upcoming business people, entrepreneurs, they asked me to come and address the youth. So whatever I'm saying, have something to pick. Now the German machines managed to get me into Pepsi, because the franchise manager of Pepsi used to come and inspect my crowns that I was manufacturing, and when they tested them, they found that the quality of my crowns were better than those from South Africa and the UK, because that's where they were importing crowns from UK, and that's why they were having shortages, because of airlifting, shipment. And one evening I took him to a Chinese restaurant. I think it was in one of these buildings of insurance. I don't know if it was Chinese, because the Indian was owning that place, but married to a Muzungu. Did you know that? Yeah. No, he was married to a Muzungu woman. Any of you knew that restaurant in one of the insurance near NSSF?
Chairman, these young people are 25 and 26.
But how come this man doesn't know? So that's where my success in business came. Because during the dinner, the man said, you know, Amos, we are looking for a serious bottler. I said, what? We are looking for a serious bottler to give the franchise of Pepsi-Cola. I said, I'm a very, very serious person. Mr. Ijigo, don't go anywhere to look for a serious business person. I'm very, very serious. I can give you my CV. He says, well, I can recommend you. I said, please, please, before you leave Kampala. He gave me a letter addressed to Boboka in London. I took a plane immediately, went to London. I went to a place called I remember. So I met with Boboka. Boboka welcomed me very well. We had discussion. We went for lunch. We talked. He said, come back tomorrow morning. I'm still consulting with New York. The following day he went back. He said, now you need to go and meet our chairman in New York, Mr. Norinko. Had my ticket. In fact, I remember being upgraded I had a first-class ticket. I remember being upgraded because of my card. I had a gold card in British Airways, because of flying many times. They upgraded me to Concorde. 3 hours, 25 minutes to New York. I was there. I met with the chairman. Chairman gave me a letter after a long discussion, but with the condition that I must provide support from a first-class bank. First-class bank. My first-class bank was Barclays, PRC in London. I came back. I went to London. I told my bank manager, I have a number of them. I have a number of them. There were many managers that were my friends. Some of them, I invited them to Kenya. I invited them to national parks, Masai Mara, where. So I had a relationship with my bankers. And it was not difficult to get that letter. So I got the letter and I put it in my pocket. Then in about a year time, they started privatizing these paracetamols. And Lake Victoria Bottling Company was advertised. We put in our bids. But now where I want to again give you some light in doing things. Now, in bidding to buy those assets of Pepsi Lake Victoria Bottling Company, people thought that you could buy Pepsi. They were buying Pepsi. They didn't know what the government was selling. Even the government didn't know that they had no right to sell actually Pepsi. Pepsi, you cannot sell it. If I was now to sell actually the company, Crown Beverages, I would not sell the franchise. I would only sell the assets, because you cannot own the franchise. No, you cannot. You have a right to produce with that franchise rights, but you cannot sell. So these people who bidded, including Madivan, they were told when we went for the opening of the bid, mine, I had attached that letter of intent and, those approvals I had got. So it was easy for me to win. But also, the bid I put in was higher than all those that put in, because I put in $6.49 million, and that was the highest. The second was 4.9. I want to give you this history because sometimes people talk without knowing what they are talking about. I've heard stories the government gave and say, no. Franchise, you can't get a franchise unless you apply for it. And now that's how I entered into bottling business. And I'm proud to say that in my doing business with Pepsi International, I've achieved two things. One, the best quality in the Pepsi family, because 2018 we became #2 in the whole world. We were beaten by Colombia. Uganda came #2. Right now, and of course also market share in Sub-Saharan Africa, we are the leader. We are the leaders, the prawn beverages. So when I'm out there, like recently we had a conference in Dubai on 500 bottlers. I'm highly respected. I sit on table 1 with the top guys. But maybe because I'm black also, that gives me also, And we have that good relationship with Pepsi International. But also, the government appreciates our performance because of taxes that we pay. Taxes that we pay, you know, when we started here, the government, when they came in power, this government, 1986, tax collection for the entire industry and all the whatever, they were only 5 billion. Can you believe it? 5 billion is what they were collecting. But I can tell you that last year we paid 230 billion, okay, my company. And this year you will get announcement that maybe you have paid 300 billion because we are growing. We have been registering growth. So that is my story to the upcoming youth. First of all, I want to appreciate. You know, I was very busy because yesterday I was selling soda in near past Mombasa in Kilifi. Thank you for reminding me. I know it well as Malindi. But when Humphrey told me that you must come, these are youth. You know, for me, I really treasure you, and I strive on you, the growth I'm talking about, the billions that we are paying in taxes. You are the people who support our industry because you are the consumers. You are the most consumers, and that's why I had to respect you and come. And even when before I came here, I asked the CEO, Hilda Babazi, I said, but I'm going to represent you, the company. Are these people having refreshments? She said, yes. I said, are you sure enough? She said, yes, we gave, Humphrey told us there are 800, we gave each 3 bottles. 2 bottles of soda and 1 bottle of mineral water. So those of you who have not got it, please, let them give it to you, carry it home. Right? Don't leave here without carrying soda. Because I can see you are very few. They don't leave them with your soda.
Thank you.
Right? Keep consuming our products. They are very good, very healthy. I beg you, please keep it up. And I wish you luck in you have heard of me. It was not my intention to become a businessman. I wanted to become a professor, a lecturer, but unfortunately, it didn't work. So, I thank you, private sector, for inviting me, and keep, motivating these young people so that they can tap on your knowledge and our knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. What a powerful story. I think you can see that the journey is never a straight line, too many twists and turns to finally land in a space where you can actually feel comfortable. Thank you for taking us through the decades and a bit of the ups and downs. I'd like to go to Mr. Charlie Lubega. Those of us who are much older, we know him for the entertainment industry, a former DJ, or still a DJ now, soul disco, ingénieur, but he has also gone into other sectors and started business, I think, the soul disco while at university. So, Mr. Charlie, it would be also nice to share your story with these young people.
Thank you very much. Can I get more boost on the mic?
Sorry?
Is it possible to boost the mic a bit? Is it loud enough?
He's in the music,
okay.
So he knows.
Thank you. First of all, it's an honor for me to be here to speak to you all. But Agri, I have an axe to grind with you. How can you let me be the anticlimax after these 2 accomplished entrepreneurs? First of all, I'm flattered to even share a stage with you. Mine is a totally different story. I had a set of circumstances that helped me. My mother worked for Uganda Airlines, and I had an uncle in the UK, which meant that I could fly to the UK free of charge, and I had a place to live when I was there. So I made the most of that opportunity. I started traveling with my mother, and I think I was given 40 pounds for my first trip, which I saved. I had a sister who told me what I could buy, and I bought brooches, I bought necklaces, lipstick. So I used all my money. I was 15 at the time, and when I got back, she took me around to the banks where her friends used to work, and I sold all these items to those people. And she opened an account for me. She was a banker in housing finance and taught me how to save. I think that is the most important part of my journey, that she made me enjoy seeing the savings grow, meaning that as not the typical teenager who, would want to show off, or, and then I couldn't even show off because I had very strict parents. So on the various trips, I kept on increasing. My capital was growing, and I'd buy more and more. And then came my S6 vacation. I went and I got a job. I actually went to the job center because I had a long vacation. And I kept applying for jobs, and I wouldn't be considered. I thought I had very good English. I wrote all these applications, but I think it was my accent. Until one day, a job came up, and at the job center, and it had convenience attendant. And I was like, wow, let me try this. So I wrote an application in my best English. And when I was taken for the interview, the gentleman came out and said, you wrote a very good application, but do you know the job you've applied for? I said, yes, convenience attendant. Do you know what you're going to do? I said, no. And he said, you're going to clean toilets, in the London borough of Lewisham. I was like, okay. And I thought long and hard, and I realized my vacation was running out. And since this was the opportunity I got, I was like, okay, I'm in. It was daunting, I must say, because it was a cultural shock, I must say, because I was in a dugout, and while working there, cleaning the toilets, I used to get chatted up by men. And that, to me, it was a first, of course. So I called the bosses and said, there are men bothering me here. And they told me, don't worry, when they come, you get out of the toilets until they leave. So it was a challenge, but I needed the money. So you young people out there, just know that there are lots. You have to find, when there's a gap, you must take it and make the most of it. So I worked for about 2 weeks, and then I got another job, which was at the Mansion House, the Mayor of London, and that was an evening job, which I would do every time. I would finish my shift and rush to the Lord Mayor's home. And then after that, I also got a weekend job. Now that meant I didn't have time to even spend my money. It was all savings. So that gave me an opportunity to save money as a youngster. And Sadly, or unfortunately, when the results came back, I had not qualified to go to Makerere. So, my parents told me, listen, go find yourself a school to repeat, which I did. But then it was also an opportunity. It means I went to St. Henry's Kitovu, I'd been in SMAC, and when I repeated, after repeating, I had another opportunity to have a long vacation, again, to make money. So what I thought was a bad thing became an opportunity, such that by the time I finished my vacation, I'd passed to go to the university, and I was a very rich student, you know, on all accounts. So that gave me the opportunity to start Soul Disco. I think after the first term, we had terms, not semesters like you, so after the first term I went back and came back with a system and started Soul Disco. And then it grew and grew. By towards the end of second year, I had 3 sets. But then you won't believe that in our times we didn't even have phones. I used to have a diary on my room door, and I would write on there all the bookings I had, and people would come. All my prices were on the door. They would write their names in, put the money under the door, and I attended every engagement without exception. So, and I kept reinvesting. I think some of the things that defined how I ended up was I was always trying to be the first to do anything. So I had the first wireless microphone. And on that occasion, I was sold out for 3 months. Because whoever saw someone walking with a microphone was like, how is that even possible? So, and that gave me a competitive edge. So, to the young people, you must always, you know, look for innovations that will give you the cutting edge, give you the advantage over your competition in whatever you do. So the Soul Disco became the mobile disco, and soon after that, when I graduated, you know, I was going back and forth, you know, improving on my systems and all, and then in 1991, I heard that at the time there was you call it Ange Noir, but it's Ange Noir. It's French. Yes, so Ange Noir was up for sale, and it was a struggling business. So I had my savings and talked to the owners, and they gave me the price. But sadly, I didn't have enough capital because I was over-invested, and I was selling hair preparations, and I hadn't had a lot of stock, which I had to sell. So in that period, Patrick Bitature bought it before I could. And by the way, I was also a DJ in Tropicana, which was his club. I was supplying music to Tropicana. So now my boss had bought the business. So I tried to sell off my stock of hair products, and when I had amassed enough money, I went to him and gave him an offer for Ange Noir, because he hadn't really taken care of it, because he already had Tropicana. and I saw a gap. So he charged me double what it went for before, but I knew that with that opportunity I'll be able to make it. So I took over, I paid the money and took over Angenois. And of course, being someone who had worked as a convenience attendant, the first thing I revamped were the toilets. And that was a big thing, because when I started the club, people used to walk out to ease themselves because of how bad the toilets were. And then progressively, I went on improving. I'm very competitive. I must tell you that even when the competition came in, I kept on doing my best to try and keep ahead of the game. I think I brought the first sky tracker, which I put on the roof of the club, and it would, you know, throw light across the whole city, to the extent that they once came to me and told me to lower it because I think aircrafts were being affected by that strong light. So it was really, really, that was my biggest advert back in the day. So I went on, and, you know, many clubs would come and go. But along the way, of course, I felt a shelf life of a nightclub never exceeds 5 to 6, maximum 10 years. So I started doing a bit of reinvestment in real estate. And I think I need water. So I took that path in a way, and because I thought the club would not even last 10 years. So we went on, we've soldiered on, and I must say today, because I'm turning 60 next year, and I feel I've run my course on the nightclub side. And, you know, if there are any young entrepreneurs out there, Ange is up for sale, or governor. Please take on this dream and take it to a better place than I've managed to. So that is my short story.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Gentlemen, I'd like to keep you for an extra 10-15 minutes. If you wish, or rather if you allow me, so I can take at least 2-3 questions from the audience, so we can feel that it's more interactive. And then I'll come back to you for just one quick parting shot of what wisdom you think you can leave to the younger people, those who are pursuing entrepreneurship. Cecilia, I'd like to take 2 or 3 questions from the audience. You've heard the stories, you've heard the twists and turns, you've heard the passion, the resilience, you've had the leaps of hope, the opportunities, and being able to take them, but also staying the distance. Probably what Charlie hasn't told you is that Angenois is 38 years old now, and he has been in the business for 38 years. No, at one point, they used to call him Mukowe Kampala, because so many relationships got formed there.
I beg to correct it. Okay. Actually 33.
33?
Yeah, 38 in total, I believe, but my part of it is 33.
Fantastic. 33 years of nightlife. Any questions?
Yes.
Okay, yes, please.
Thank you very much. I feel very, very inspired and excited. How I wish my next 30 years are going to be anywhere close to what the 3 titans out there are like. My name is Jerome Okot. I say I'm a hacker. Well, I work in cybersecurity. My question is, as one of the most enterprising cybersecurity players in Uganda, what would you advise the young people who are trying to invest or build their technology businesses in Uganda strategically? What do the next 10, 15 years look like? Because you're visionaries, how do you advise someone who is taking up this kind of investment or businesses as compared to moving out to Europe or to the US to focus technology investments out there? What would you recommend for someone visionarily looking at the next 10, 15 years? Thank you.
Thank you, Okot. I think that was the name. I think that question I'll direct to our board member, Badru, who's in charge of ICT, to respond to it. Any other question? There is a question here from Donna. Badru is here, but let's take the second question first. Let's take the second question.
Thank you very much. My question goes to Mr. Lovega. I'm Donna Masolo. I was on the previous panel. You sound like a planned child, so you speak to a segment that the rest of us hadn't spoken to. The world is suffering with planned children now who do not have a motivation to make it in life. And you sound like you had everything. What is it that you can tell the young generation that feel like their parents have everything and have no motivation to do much of their own?
One more question. There's a lady there. There's a lady there. Up, no, this side. Flavia, do we have time for another round of questions? Yes? Okay. So I'll take that third question. The lady there. Badru, after the lady, you can respond. Charlie may start as Badru gets a mic. Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone. This goes to Chairman Amos. My name is Esther Nakaziba. I'm a film makeup artist in Uganda. I do special effects makeup. I would love to appreciate Chairman Amos for supporting us. I've had an exhibition for 2 years and Aquafina has been supporting us, the young makeup artists. So I appreciate so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Charlie, maybe you can start with the responses. Planned kids, the new generation, attitude, you are slightly different.
Yes.
What do you advise?
Yes, I can say I'm a planned child, but I am not from a wealthy family. My parents were, my dad was a civil servant. He was working for government. He was a chief architect in Uganda. Actually, he designed this conference center.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a planned kid. A very big planned kid. And way back in the 50s, 60s is a planned kid.
No, but he was a government employee. And I can tell you that, you know, he spent about 16, 17 years building the home, which we all had rooms, but never lived in them because he was using the money he would make every month. And by the time he was done, we had all left home. So, in that sense, he was not a wealthy man. But the biggest thing my parents gave me and us was an upbringing, a good upbringing, integrity. You could not tell a lie, and you had to keep your word. Those are the values which, I mean, parents who are bringing up children should instill in their children. So that is the most important thing. No matter how much money you have, if you are grounded, you can be able to make it in life. If you know, the part of the other question was the opportunities. I think there's a gap in every sector. It's about identifying the gap and following it through. And in whatever one does, when you choose a path or a business, give it your best shot. Try to be different from everyone else. Try to add value. Try to, you know, stand out in such a way that everyone will recognize that you are different. And I think that's the only way you can make it today. And there are many opportunities, I'm sure, but it's hard to identify them. And by the way, however little your past has, there's something you can do. And of course, my other advice is regulate your social media time, because it's a distraction. And I can see that many people want to be like the people they see on social media. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own challenge. So, you know, look at yourself as an individual and not want to emulate what you see people doing on social media. Everyone has their journey and their struggle.
Thank you very much. Charlie says values, grounding, nurturing, very important even to the parents. I know the front row is here, mostly the parents of the people at the back. Please listen, nurture, give the proper values, and obviously discipline. But he also says our journeys are different, so we cannot compare each other. As you can see from the three aristocrats here seated, everyone has told their story and it's completely different. But they are all successful and they are all doing different things. Yes, Badru, in 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. I had to go and get the question again. So basically, in context, what we've had today is really about principles. Business is about principles. Now, whether it's technology or not, so I had to go back to Okota and get clarification. But the answer is, what can you do in the opportunity in Uganda? Uganda has 45 million people. East Africa has over 500 million people. Any technology solution you have, that is your immediate market. Nowhere beyond that initially. Because once you get it right in this market, then you can grow. But everything else what we've had is key to any business, and it's key to technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Badru. One last round of questions. I'd like to take those who have not had an opportunity to ask a question. So, 2 gentlemen and 1 lady.
1 lady, 2 gentlemen.
Okay. And then on this table here. Yes, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Dora Babiria. Looking at the panelists, thank you so much for bringing us your experience. We appreciate. And definitely may God bless your father. So I'm keen to know, when I look at the panelists, I imagine Sachali is the youngest, who said he turned 60 soon. And the gentleman from said 80. Yep. So I'm going to average and say also Dr. Amos is about the same. In life, when you put everything together with the pillars that make you and define you, what would you say and what would be the advice you tell a younger generation that what matters in life, awesomely? I know life is split in the careers, the business, family, spiritual. Overall, with your experience and years you're at, what matters in life?
Who are you directing the question to?
It would be very nice for each one of them to give us their perspective.
Okay, I'll ask them to give their
Thank you.
on that. There's a table this side. This at the far extreme end. Please, quickly.
Thank you.
One question.
Yes, please. My name is Mcha David. I want to thank the message you have gotten today. My question would be, what are those things that, the mistakes they did, that once they reflect back, they shouldn't have done them in business?
Any particular, or you want everyone to chip in?
It would be better if you got a perspective from
Thank you very
all of
much.
them.
So we'll take these two. No, let's take the final question. Final question, one final question.
There was a gentleman at the back. He put up his hand earlier.
Okay.
I want to give you an opportunity to ask
two
his
questions, I
question.
think, to be blended into one. The first question, she's asking, what is that one thing that is central to what makes you, or what would make someone successful? And the second question is, where have the failures been based on your own experiences, and if there are any lessons learned from those particular failures? Or what would you do differently if you are presented with the same situation? Yes?
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Peniel Namara. I'm in healthcare, private clinic. I would like to ask my question directed to Doctors Lalani and Zeyi on what would their advice be to younger generation, our age, on the use of debt in business, in trying to expand your business across the country and even to go abroad. Thank you.
Fantastic. So that's a question on scaling and how you use financial instruments, banks, name it, to be able to manage to scale. I think we can start with the first two. What is that, those values, or the value that you think is most fundamental for anyone to be able to be successful?
Yeah, for me, I think I was young also. I was 25 years when I went into business. And the main driver for me was the challenges. You know, when you don't have anything with you, you don't have any money, and you see people around you enjoying life, they got everything. And when you are suffering with that, I mean, this is the biggest challenge. Then inside you, you have the determination to identify something, get it, you know, get involved in it and pursue it. It's not easy. It's very, very difficult task, you know, but what you need is determination, never to give it up. Pursue it till you achieve it. I think nothing is impossible in life. If you are completely determined, if your mind is in it, and you want to do it, you'll get it.
Thank you very much. Dr. Lalani says adversity is good because it pushes you, and you have to be resilient. Dr. Amos, same question. What is that value, or what is that driver for someone to be successful that you think the young people need to have?
Well, first of all, you must believe in yourself. That you can move, you can do it, you can make it work. Like former President Obama, his slogan was, yes, you can, yes, we can. If you can just create confidence in you, that whatever you are trying to venture in, you can do it. Then you can do it. Can be done. But always you will always need some helping hand. How do you get it? Connections. You have to connect. In my growing up as a youth, because I was a youth at one time, and I chose not actually to have my age as my friends. I looked for people who are older than me because I wanted to tap in their knowledge. I never socialized with my age mates. I would always go, you know, for example, I was a friend of Leti Bikangaga, former Rutachiri of Kabari, a king. Can you imagine at my age, I was maybe 25, but interacting with a man who was 60. Why did I do that? Tapping knowledge. Yeah? Every time he spoke, I would be attentive and I would learn something from him. So it is very important, you young people, also to be selective. If you keep your age mates, they may really bring you a downfall. Because you are adding nothing. You are all exchanging the same information. Because you are all young in mind. That's why I missed this Angenois. I've never been to any nightclub in Uganda. Because my age mates, I mean my friends, are old people. That's what I can advise you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. So Chair says self-belief is one, fundamental, but also networks. Building networks and relationships is also very important, not just for knowledge, but also wisdom. Charlie, do you want to make a contribution to that one also?
The gentlemen have spoken well about it. Perhaps to add to what they have said, there are certain factors that are critical, and integrity is one. And, you know, being someone who always looks out to do what is right, to make sure that you don't shortchange your customer, to make sure that the business serves people truthfully, because I come from an industry where people have, we have counterfeit products, for instance, and those who choose to sell counterfeit make bigger margins, but that is not right. So when you do your business, always stick to quality, and that's why I mention integrity. And then also know your customer and value your customer. When you get a business, try to improve on the product you have to make sure you are different from everyone else. That's what I would say.
Thank you very much. Integrity is very key, and as you've heard from all the panelists, quality is at the foundation of what they do. From the products in roofings to the products in Crown Beverages, Crown Bottlers, to Angenois. Quality of service to the customer. There was now a question, again back to you, on what failures and what lessons have been learned, and if probably the same situation happened, how would you react to it? I don't know if there's anything along the way that you think you failed at and there's a lesson. Or, Dr. Lalani.
Failure, I think, in business, don't over borrow. Because bankers are your friend. Bankers are your friend, but then if you over borrow and if you use up, more money than your capacity, it's very difficult to pay back. And it's very important that you don't overexpose yourself in any business. Just do what your capacities are and what your capacity permits you to do.
So doctor says don't overborrow, don't overexpose yourself, do what's within your means and you can grow organically. And I think even the panel that was before here also highlighted that fact. Dr. Amos?
Well, I would say that in business, there is always turbulence. but all the time you have to be able to weather through. I told you that I had a bad experience supplying teachers. So that's my failure. That's where I failed. That's the only time that I remember that I could have got stuck forever. But I managed to pull out of it. I weathered through. So, he has said something important. If you borrow money from banks to do business, make sure you pay back. By paying back, you are not doing the bank a service, but you are building your future and growth. By paying the bank in time, you are building your business to the highest level to become rich like my brother here, Lalan.
Thank you. I think the same question, they have responded, I think, to the question of the gentleman who asked about financing and the relationship with banks. It's okay to borrow, but you must pay back, but you also have to grow based on what you can afford to have, not overexpose yourself. I think, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take the final parting shots from all the three panelists in a minute or so, and I can close the panel. Dr. Lalani, what do you think you need to tell these young people for the very last time on this panel?
Just simple, nothing is impossible. I think we have got a lot of opportunities here. Africa is the continent which definitely everyone knows will come up so much. So let's be part of, growth of Africa. Let's take it at our heart, and let's commit ourselves to bring Uganda up and to bring Africa up.
Thank you very much. Dr. Amos?
Well, the business I'm in of soft drinks, Uganda will still have a lot of opportunity. Because in Uganda, a person, each Ugandan, if we take consumption per capita per annum, Uganda, you are on 12 bottles per person. Can you imagine you consume 12 bottles? Whereas in Mexico, each person per annum consumes 800 bottles. So when Mr. Arad says there is a lot of opportunities here in Africa, it is very true. We still have a lot of growth to grow our businesses. So in my business, I'm looking at this opportunity that are going to be available for us to grow our businesses. The advice to you who are still starting businesses, the best place to start business is actually in Uganda before even you go regional East Africa. Because in Uganda, you have a lot of resources. If you are in agriculture, you have good soil, you have good rainfalls. Whatever you grow will grow. You'll sell, and you'll harvest a good harvest.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Mr. Charlie.
I want to tell everyone who's here, the young people, that there is, however little you have, there is an opportunity for you to do something with whatever little you have. It's about identifying, even if it's doing Rolexes and you do them differently, no matter what, never sit down and wait for the big opportunity. Start now. Start with whatever you have. Live within your means. Save money. The more money you save, the more financial discipline you have, will determine the trajectory of your growth.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking this marvelous panel. for sharing their time, their knowledge, their experience, free of charge. Thank you once again. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, big on flavor, big on family, big on taste, big on sharing. Oh, I could do it. Bonding the do it. Dig it down and do it. Share the do it. Big flavor, mo do it. Bulia mo kusakukuru. Dig it down and do it. Hey.
To govern the flavor this Christmas season with the 2-liter Mirinda Fruity and 7-Up Hamper. That comes with 1 free notebook and 330 ml extra soda at a discount. Available countrywide at only 8,000 shillings in a supermarket or duka near you.